Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Erica. I am the author of Faith in Transition, and you are watching the Queens over here, Fly Nubian Money. Now, we're going to jump right into this thing today because this is heavy. We recently saw a video where Columbus Short compares being with a Black woman to other cultures. While Columbus made a few solid points, his comments were overshadowed by inaccurate cultural comparisons, degrading stereotypes, and unfair generalizations. Now, I really want us to talk about this, and I have a great panel of queens here today. I have Athena Gardner. She's a CPA and a women's wealth coach. Then we have my girl, Constance Carter. She's a wealth activist, money, money, money. And of course, we have the lovely Dr. Alicia. She's a psychotherapist and professor of social work. Ladies, let's jump into this. First of all, how are you today?
Listen, I'm glad to be free.
Glad to be free. So we're going to jump right into this, and I just have a few questions here. So we're going to get started with this one, and I want to start with you, Athena. What did you think of the video? I know you had a chance to look at it a couple of days ago. What did you think about Columbus Short and what he had to say about Black women as it relates to dating us versus other women in other cultures?
Listen, Erica, I was having a peaceful day, right? I was, liaising around, gallivanting, and I saw the video, and I was like, the turn up is here. It's here. I'm gonna fillet this man today because I'm tired of these dry mouth men disparaging Black women and not understanding that when they do that, they're also disparaging themselves. Right. Every other man from other ethnic group understands this, and whatever gripes they have with their woman, they keep it behind a closed door. But with us, everything got to be on the shade room. So today, I'm about to cook.
Constance, what do you have to say about it?
Everybody does stuff for likes and clicks, and I think they just need to take people's mics away from them. That's all. I'm so sick of just hearing all of the battle of the sexes, especially amongst our people. It's and then everybody painting everybody with a broad brush. All Black women do this. All Black. I'm sick of that shit. I want to hear something positive. I want to hear something correct, because everything is that I'm hearing is incorrect. It's painting everybody with a broad brush. And it's incorrect and it's not factual. So I want to get down to the actual facts of the matter because it's all bullshit.
Dr. Alicia, what do you think?
Oh my God, I'm back here laughing because I agree with everything that's been said. Yeah, it's so fun. As a licensed therapist for over 20 years, I have seen so many people point the finger at the other person as to why there's issues going on, and they need to point the finger back at themselves. We need to have some more ownership into our part in whatever issues you have in relationships. If you find a pattern and these things are happening in your relationships, a constant trail of failed relationships, to sit and point the finger, oh, it's Black women or it's modern women or westernized women, that is not being good to yourself. You really need to focus on yourself and figure out how you are contributing to these patterns and take some ownership in the problems in your relationships.
I often wonder because it seems as if when people want to start talking about relationships, the first person they pick on is Black women. We are the first example that goes forward. And Constance, I want to start with you. Why is it that you feel like Black women are the brunt of every conversation as it relates to relationships?
We're an easy target. I mean, you got to think about it. We're taught to be strong. We're taught to be independent, and it comes back down to systematic racism. Black men were taken out of our home and we were forced to be single parents. But let's really get to the fact of the matter is, even though a high percentage of us are single parents, it doesn't mean that Black men aren't in the home. They don't have to, just because they're not together, just because they're not married, don't mean that they're not present in their children's lives. And that's, I think, a big myth. 74% of children have their fathers in their lives. So I think that there's a lot of misconceptions just around, the idea of people being Black children being fatherless. And then, of course, there's a lot of blames. But I just think we're an easy target, because we're strong women and we were taught to be strong.
Yeah, Athena, what do you think about that?
Listen, I'm of the thinking of Black women, we need rest. We do not have to uphold any kind of strong narrative. I don't hear any of these other women pushing that strong narrative. I think we should enjoy softness and a soft life and put that whole strong Black woman trope to rest, because clearly, in a lot of ways, that have not helped us. What is disappointing about Columbus Short, with what he has had to say, is that I could have taken that critique coming from a man that had works and deeds that reflected, insight and growth and self-awareness and, oh my gosh. And just because he said it eloquently does not mean that his advice and his perspective is the best advice and perspective to get. When men who are actually building businesses, communities, and families, like Dr. Boyce. I remember when Dr. Boyce, he proposed to you, Dr. Alicia, and people were calling him simp and doing all kind of things. When the men who actually are doing things show up, the other men take him down. And that is not publicized as something great. But when a dry mouth man, who I can't remember the last good, decent movie he has had to show for us, right? Because his career tanked post scandal, because he couldn't keep his drinking issues or whatever his issues under wraps, come and says something. Now it's headline news, and now Black women are once again sprawled across media to be shamed and to be disparaged, and I'm not having it.
Okay, well, Dr. Alicia, before we get to you, what I'd like to do is I would like to show everyone the video that was posted on IG. And then from that, Dr. Alicia, I'm going to come straight to you, because as a psychotherapist and professor of social work, I want to get your insight on what you see in this video. Let's take a look at that.
Clothes, you still cleaning the house. You're not doing that with, this is my job. That's just what you were trained to do. And I think that kind of training, how you want to ride in a Bugatti, how you want to go on a yacht, but you don't know how to wash your own clothes. You don't know how to vacuum. You don't know how to you don't know how to cook, girl. You don't even know how to cook. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's all Black women. I'm just saying, let's get down to it. Ooh, I'm in trouble.
We are about to be in trouble.
You still making dinner, you still washing his clothes. Rami, you want, you know what I'm saying? Boom, boom, boom. Hey, who gonna put the money on your books? I'll put the money on. No, you can go to jail. Take your Black just motherfucker for you. So have some, it's a different energy. It's not like maybe, thank you for your criticism. Thank you for your honest, constructive criticism. And, we can get it better. Or cook it for yourself.
Yeah.
You want a cup of noodle? You want some ramen? Somebody else come cook this ramen you want.
Now, he's talking about oodles and noodles and ramen, of which he probably grew up on or went to college, and, a Black woman he dated in college helped him get some ramen so he'd have something to eat for the week. But I digress. I had to get my little rant out. Dr. Alicia, in your experience as a psychotherapist and social worker, what are you seeing here in this rant from Columbus Short?
Yeah, I think that when we hear men finally get to the point where they want to open up and talk, even though it's not the most sophisticated, I think we need to take that moment and really listen to what he's saying, because he is sharing a real experience that happened to him. So we don't want to, at the same time, diminish his lived experience. So I think many times when we see men who finally open up and it comes out and it's clunky and it gets a lot of backlash in the media, of course, people went in on him. Yes, I can understand that, but he may not have had many opportunities. He definitely may not have been in therapy to help him craft his narrative a little better, but it's still deep down inside. I see a lot of pain happening in him. I see where he felt betrayed. I see where he felt like he couldn't count on a Black woman, and that Black woman was there for him when he really needed this. I really think that he needs to work on how his delivery, but the message that he's saying to me comes from a source of pain that he was connecting with. And I think Black men need space and moments where they can really flesh out what's happening with them before we start getting into, well, what's your part in this? But he has a gripe. And I think that we should open our ears and listen to his legitimate gripe that he had in relationships and challenge his notion of generalizing all Black women. Because we know all Black women aren't like that, right? And I hope that you will show his apology, because he was just speaking from the gut on out about his issues with those relationships, and stereotyping and make it a blanket discussion that it was all Black women. And we know, and he knows, that that's not the case.
Okay, Constance, what did you see? What did you see, Constance? I want to hear what my girl C had to say.
I'll sit here listening, and I'm not as sophisticated as Dr. Alicia, and I don't have all the knowledge, and I'm not a therapist. And she said she sees the pain, which, oh my God, I see the drugs. I see the alcohol. That's what I see. I see he got mama issues. I see, and that very well may be the case, but let's call a spade a spade. Let's call him who he is. I don't even know the Black people that he speaks of, to be honest with you. I don't know those ghetto hood rats that he's talking about, that everybody says that there are so many of, all these negative Black people that he's talking about. I have no idea who he's talking about. So I think that him and a lot of other people on social media, they need to expand their horizons. I think that, going back to being an easy target, look at what we see on reality TV. The only time we see Black women is when we're fighting, is when there's drama. You can have two shows. You can have the Real Housewives. You got New York, and then you have Atlanta. Do you see the women on New York acting like the women on Atlanta? No, they encourage the fighting. They encourage the drama. This is what's put out there. What would happen if we see some positive Black women online, if we see some positive Black reality shows? But that's all exacerbated by the society. And unfortunately, Black men a lot of times are pawns, and they tend to parrot the things that they hear. I don't think they're necessarily the case or true, though.
It seems as if we are struggling as a community as it relates to relationships. Athena, I want to ask you this. Do you think that Black men are a safe space for Black women?
Okay, so we're in the booth of truth today. Okay, we're in the booth of truth today. Would I say all Black men? I would say no, but it's not unique to Black men. I think men as a group, there needs to be some kind of, across all races, so this is not unique to Black men, there needs to be some kind of work done to help with the emotional and mental issues, especially as someone who, has relationships and is dating. The number one complaint, or even marriages, the number one complaint, and I'm sure Dr. Alicia can chime in on this, is that a lot of women feel like they're not being appreciated. There's not enough safety. There's not enough stability within the relationship. There's not enough emotional connection. And I think that while Columbus Short is saying all these things, I think that's his real issue. His real issue is learning how to function great within a relationship, because you cannot have two separate domestic violence cases from ex-wives. Then your third wife, Corinne, have all these type of issues. And then all of it is just these Black women being ratchet and demanding, and they can't respect anybody. What are you giving women to respect? Right? Obviously, there's your past relationship issues, which may have caused you to come to this place. You have done things to contribute to that. And that's what I want people to understand and focus on when we see these men with these mics just talking, is that when you look underneath the hood, they should not be the one talking.
Right. You're absolutely right. If you are just tuning in, welcome to Fly Nubian Money. Now, listen, if you want to receive notifications about when we are going live, you want to text Queens, that's plural with an S at the end, QUEENS, to 87948. And don't forget, Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. You can tune in Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. by searching Fly Nubian Money on Spotify to catch all of our empowering discussions. Now, Queens, let's get back to Columbus Short. I want to talk to you, Dr. Alicia, really quickly and just follow up with what Athena was talking about. How do you feel? Do you feel that Black men are a safe space for Black women?
I think they can be. I think that even on top of the pain that a lot of men and women feel, Black men and women feel, based on their past, I think that they can be a safe space. I think that with help and assistance, even if it's from a professional or from, it could be a pastor or someone that can help cultivate the language and how to talk to each other and air out our grievances with each other in a way where people feel heard and understood. So with that, I think the biggest takeaway is no matter what your background, you can grow up in a single parent home. You could grow up in a 2-parent home. You can grow up where you had abuse and neglect in your past. You can grow up any kind of way that you grew up in your past. You can have corrective experiences now in your relationships. So clearly there's a lot of pain happening between Black men and Black women. I think that with a lot of help and with a lot of space to really talk about what's happening with us, at the end of the conversation, we could then have corrective experiences where we can heal each other by saying, you know what, I'm now becoming conscious of my part in this. I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm now going to love you the way you need to be loved, because I've heard about your pain. I understand how my experiences and our experiences have triggered you because it's reminiscent of something that's happened in the past. We have these conversations. On the other side of that, we can learn each other better, learn each other's triggers, help to heal each other. Having corrective experiences is a way for Black men to have this space where Black women can talk, and vice versa.
I want to get to the chat in a minute because I saw some really interesting comments that were going across the screen. But before I do that, I'm just curious. We hear many Black men, not all, we hear many Black men talk about, the energy of Black women, all these disparaging remarks and, degrading us. I'm just curious as to, do you think, Dr. Alicia, that this is a result to how they were raised? Because these are Black men that have Black mothers. Do they have problems with their mothers? Have they addressed these issues? And what are your recommendations for that?
I mean, think about the stress you're under. Think about what single mothers go through. They have to be responsible, mentally responsible, not even just financially responsible for the household, but you have to mentally be responsible. Did you go to the dentist like you were supposed to? Did I do all the X amount of things for your schooling? Did you go to the eye doctor? It's back to school shopping, making sure have you seen a list of back to school items that moms have to pay attention to? It's a list of things. And this even happens with married women, because believe it or not, single moms get more support than married mothers. That's a fact. I'm not making that up. We know this. So I think moms in general, and Black moms in particular, just have a lot on our shoulders. And sometimes we don't have the patience that we need to have with our children at the end of a long day of working and taking care of things and cooking and cleaning, all of the activities that's required to run a household. And believe it or not, kudos to Black men. Black men do far better job of helping out in the household than other races. So we need to give a round of applause to the Black men who are out there holding it down. And we need to understand that we can't get caught up into a lie. So when we talk about stereotypes of Black men and women, we're really saying it's a lie. When we talk about all of these images that we see in Columbus Short and promoting these things, it's just a lie. It's a figment of the results of slavery, which I can go into later, the results and the aftermath of these stereotypes, which is a fancy word for a lie.
Oh, Constance, I saw you shaking over there. I want your insight on that. How do you feel about that?
I want to shout to everything Dr. Alicia said. I mean, a truth or a lie becomes a truth. If you keep saying it, it's going to become a truth, and people are going to adopt it. And so that's what's happening. And you talk about, and I was thinking about when you were talking about, PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome. A lot of these things are trauma related from the past. They're ingrained in us. And, I think at the end of the day, Black people need therapy. I think you need to make a shirt. This needs to be a slogan. This needs to be a hashtag. Black people need therapy, period.
You know, this comment here by Egged On or Egged On, Black therapy is for mommy issues. Grown folks need therapy. Now, Athena, I want to jump over to you. What do you think about this comment? Because this is a deep comment, and I really think that it is true. Grown folks do need therapy, but do you think therapy is just for mommy issues, or it can be for daddy issues too? Because some daddies do leave issues behind, and some daddies come with issues.
Okay, listen. So, what I would like to say about therapy is this. I was actually watching a video on Kerry Washington, so Columbus Short's former co-star. And she was discussing therapy and how someone made, I think it was her friend, someone made a comment in a way that maybe implied that maybe something is wrong with you because you're going to therapy. And what she had to say about it was she looks at therapy like going to the gym for her mind, for her mental health. Just like how she has a trainer and she goes to the gym to work on her body and keep that in top shape, she goes to therapy to keep her mind and her mental in shape. And I think that we need to look at therapy as something not necessarily where we just go when, you know, everything's about to fall apart, but something that is a resource and that is useful for us to help us in our own growth, our own self-awareness, and our own self-actualization. But unfortunately, what I will say is this: I know it's a lot of people who need to go to therapy don't, and men tend to be more resistant to it, and they need to go.
That's true. That's true. Even down to premarital counseling, a lot of men are like, no, we can work it out ourselves. We can talk about it ourselves, and then we end up in this.
Why is that? Why are the men resistant to come into therapy?
You know what? For those of you watching, get on in the chat here and tell us, why do you think, or men, if you're in here, why do you think men are resistant to counseling? Okay, I want to hear about that. I want to hear from you. But I want to jump into another question. I want to talk about the experience of other women. Now, I've had the experience of working on cruise ships. I was a cruise director for about 3 years, and I saw a lot of the world. Not all, but most of it. And I had the opportunity to work with different cultures of people. And I'm wondering, why do people feel like, what do you think, Dr. Alicia, is the biggest difference that people have with other women of other cultures versus Black women? I see you shaking your head like,
Yeah, oh my God, I don't understand it. Has anybody watched 90 Day Fiance? Has anybody watched that show? I binge watch it because I'm so fascinated. I don't understand why these passport brothers feel like they want to go to another country and think that the grass is greener over there, and it is not. It is some extra special problems that can occur that is outside of what you're even used to. You know, the problems in relationships, it's the whole world, right? And so it's not just, you can't just say it's westernized women. Okay, go to another country and date somebody over there, or just spend a little bit of time watching 90 Day Fiance, and you'll see that it's not greener over there. They may do a better job of hiding it, but you can't really hide your issues. And I think what happens is that you are given this, you're in a lot of pain. So a lot of men are really justifiably in a lot of pain. They go online, they get with these groups of individuals who I think on some end is very supportive. So men need that support. If you're home alone and you have these issues with relationships and you're thinking what's happening here, and you go online and you see these groups, these passport brother groups, it's beautiful because it's a place for you to talk about the struggles that you're having in relationships. The problem is that the answer is not leaving this country, going to another country, because the grass is not greener. And there's big time problems that are happening in those relationships that is like outside of your purview, because it's not something that you grew up with. There's a cultural difference there. This is another layer that makes those relationships way more difficult. So I think that, and then not to mention some of the issues with safety, with, you know, Black men going over there by themselves, thinking that having this mindset, unrealistic expectations about what they're going to see over there. And I mean, it's this layer of, am I with you because I really want to be with you, or is it just because of a green card issues? I mean, you never know what really motivating people to do this. So I asked all Black men, come back home, and we will have this corrective experience with you and work on it together. I mean, we're so much stronger when we're all together.
I'm so petty. I'm like, you can stay over there. I'm so petty.
So Athena, that's a good question for you. Do you feel like we should let Black men that have dated out of their race or married out of their race, and then when they're ready to come back, do you think we should let them come back to the table?
This is a fire question right now. Okay, so I can talk about these experiences in dating. I live in South Florida. Interracial dating in Miami is everyone's doing. The Black women are doing it. The Black men are doing it. Everybody's, a lot of the Black men that I have dated women outside of their race, and I always ask them about that experience. That and my brothers have too. So I have a front row seat to all the behind the scenes. Okay, the curtain. Wizard of Oz, right? So I'm like, why are you, how was the experience? Oh, it was cool, but her family didn't like me. Or, oh, I thought it was great, but she had political beliefs that didn't align with me. Oh, basically they got their Black man wake-up call in some form of fashion. And now all of a sudden your wife has to be Black, and I just need a Black woman after your face done fell and hit the concrete, and then you got to stand back up. So that's usually, from my experience dating these men, Black men who date out, that's usually the experience. And I do have compassion, because if you are marketed that the issue is Black women, and you have the opportunity to date out, and because all these men are having these wonderful, this is what they market, all these wonderful experiences with these other women, I don't blame them for doing that. But because that's what's being marketed to them. But even so, I have noticed, and I've talked to men who are in my sphere about it, I would say, you know what, just look out for this. Don't think that your issue is a Black woman problem. Your issue is you have a woman problem. And you're going to put one set of problems down to pick up another set of problems. That was disregarded, and they deal with what they deal with. Personally, I feel like anyone should date whoever they want to date. I'm of the view, if Black men want to date out, they are free to do so. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to hold you. Pack up your suitcase or your trash bag and go to Costa Rica if you want to, and have that experience. But when homegirl done get her K-1 visa and her green card, and Enrique finna pull up so they can ride off in the sunset, do not expect us to hold your hand, okay? If you want to go through what Jeezy went through, then that's all right.
All right, Athena, thank you so much. So if you are just tuning in, welcome to Fly Nubian Money. My name is Erica, and I'm your host today. And these lovely queens are holding me down with this topic on Columbus Short. Now, if you want to receive notifications about when we go live, make sure you text Queens with an S, Queens, at 87948 to receive notifications. And don't forget, Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. You can tune in Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Search Fly Nubian Money on Spotify to catch all of our empowering discussions. Now, if you also want to get more information on how to get your money right, make sure you go on over to flynubianmoney.com and try our free financial resources, courses, and more. And also, sometimes we look for guest panelists to come in. So if you think you want to sit on the panel with one of the queens, you can email us at info@realvirtual.net. That's real, REEL, virtual.net. Whew. Okay, now I want to jump over to you, Constance. I want to talk a little bit about, where are we going here? Cultural stereotypes. Now, they say that most women of other cultures are more docile and they're trained. But I have to be honest with you, I feel like my mama trained me. I feel like, I washed clothes. I did laundry for the whole house. I washed dishes. I did. I cooked. Do you feel that Black women are already trained in how to take care of a home versus our counterparts? Why is it that our counterparts are pitted against us as if they are trained when our brothers grew up with us and know that we are trained because of mama?
It's a lie fed to the masses. It's part of social engineering. It's a part of the breakdown of the Black family, and that I think is an intentional thing by the powers that be. And we've ate everything that they fed us. It saddens me though, because we have, when you keep saying something long enough, again, you keep telling a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. And I think that's sort of what's happened. Now we know that, Black man has been taken out of the house. And I was raised in San Jose, California. In San Jose, I think when I was growing up, we had maybe 6% Black people. I mean, we didn't have that many. I think now they're down to like 3, because it's like one of the most expensive places to live in the world. But Black men just did not like Black women. Black boys did not like Black girls. We were at the bottom of the barrel. We were not the pick of the litter. When I went to my ex-husband's 10-year high school reunion, we were the only fully Black couple. Everybody else had non-Black people. They just didn't like us. And that was just the reality. So I'm grateful to come to, a place like DC where Black men love Black women. But this is, I think also they're in a bubble here. This is not like everywhere else. You do have places and spaces where you have, because of one reason or another. And I do believe it goes back to social engineering. I do believe it goes back to what's been put out in society about Black women. It is an intentional thing to break us down, and we are eating every single bit of it. And we just got to wake up. We got to stop fighting against each other. And these podcasts are just exacerbating this effort to break down the Black family, period.
Okay, I understand that Columbus did issue an apology. Bless his heart, birthed the baby. And I want to see that apology video and see what we can gather from that and how this apology came about.
I woke up to a lot of comments on a podcast I did last Friday, and I realized that I seriously offended my Black women in a way that was not intended. I think that clip was taken out of context. I know that was clickbait, because the full answer to the question, which was, why are Black men dating outside of their race, marrying outside of their race? And my answer was lengthy, but that clip was sizzling, I guess, and should have been smarter in not falling into those traps. But the real answer was I was talking about the new generation and social media and the entitlement, and how, being raised by a single Black woman, as millions of us others were, and have been, the absentee father, the absence of a father in a home, forced Black moms to address something this morning.
You see how contrite this motherfucker is now? He wasn't that contrite when he was saying all that bullshit. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You didn't even let me catch a breath.
He was reading his PR statement.
Yes, he was. And it appeared that he was attempting a golf game on top of it. It's very unfortunate, because I think he meant what he said. He meant what he said. I just don't think
he said it with his chest out, didn't he?
He said it with his chest out. He was confident. And I believe, don't hold me to it, but I believe the young lady that was interviewing him was a non-Black woman. I don't think she was Black. I do believe she is Persian. I do believe so. I will have to go back and take a look, but I think she said she was Persian in a piece of the clip. And I'm just curious as to what you ladies think. And I think I want to start with you. What do you think it is that Black men are so comfortable and confident to beat down Black women with another woman from another race? Why do you feel like they feel so confident and secure in themselves, ensuring themselves in doing that?
I think that unfortunately we're very defensive between black men and Black women. There's this defensive energy of distrust. So I noticed that when it's not a Black woman, the men feel comfortable to open up their true feelings and to express these things, which is what I think Columbus ended up doing. What it does, though, is one, it does not help, because every man from every other race, and trust me, I have worked with most actually white men, and behind the scenes, they are frustrated with their wives, girlfriends, all kind of thing. but they know publicly to keep that shit behind closed doors. Same thing with Hispanic men, same thing with all of that. But for some reason, we just want to throw all of our in-house issues publicly and in front of strangers. And what that also does is make these women of other races feel elevated, feel like they're better than Black women, that they can come take our man, talk. And you watch 90 Day Fiance, they do all kind of things. So when the messaging is that we are difficult and we have attitude, when other races, you can have the spicy Latina, you can have the tiger mom Asian woman, you can have the sassy Italian woman, all these women can express the full range of expression. But Black women have to nyam BS and do all kind of nonsense. And that is my issue. Because if you are really trying to elevate as a man in society, you can never elevate past the image of your woman who you're supposed to protect. So that is the problem when these dry mouth men who need to work on their mental, emotional issues come up on here and say things like that.
Yeah, Black women have always, Black women are full figured. We have, the full hips, the thighs, and, we were called, you're big, you're fat, you're this, you're dark, you're this. And then women of other races, they go and get these surgeries to enhance themselves to look like us. That's acceptable. But we've been walking around here looking like this forever. So it's problematic. And Dr. Alicia, I want to come over there and talk to you about that. What do you think that is? Men will go and date a woman that has cosmetically designed herself to look like us, but they aren't us?
Yeah, I mean, even what Constance talked about at the reunion, it's like dating someone outside of your race in certain spaces. It's almost like a status symbol. It's saying that I am okay. I'm an okay person because I got this person on my side. It's almost like a trophy that you've been able to provide for and care for someone, a white woman. Like a Black man dating a white woman is a status symbol for him, and also even Athena. Yeah, that's really interesting because when I graduated from college, one of my best friends was an Italian lady. She was in her 20s and I went to her house for dinner. And I promise you, I thought I was in my own home. Like those Black women, those Italian women were running the household and it was loud. Everybody was, and they made sure those men were fed. It was just like hanging out with my own family members, a bunch of women who make sure everybody's fed. And it was my household, when family got together, we were noisy. But being in this Italian household, they were very noisy. They put those men in check, their husbands in check, and their husband would just like, hey, the household stuff, I leave it up to them. I bring in the money and you guys can manage the money. And I step away from the kitchen. They're not even allowed in the kitchen. But when Black women do those same things, we're somehow demonized for it. So I really think that let this conversation be awareness. Let's consciously think about the information that we're receiving and let's think about the contradictions there. And ethnic women, real Italian women have curves. Even Greek women have a lot of curves, right? So just like us. So, I mean, it's okay for them and they're not put down by their men. What is it? The hatred. And I really do think it comes from slavery. And we need to consciously really think about how we're treating each other. It's an automatic response. And think about the programming that you're getting. Media is so powerful and it plays in it. Yes, thank you. Light-skinned kid. Yes, I do think it's a colorism thing. There is a huge issue with colorism. I mean, no other race of people look down on someone because of color. Like the lighter you are, the better looking you are, the more smart you are. We have got to shatter all of these stereotypes. That is real. It's real, right? So we need to raise our conscious level and to start thinking about how we're thinking and where these images are coming from and where our ideas come from. Did it really come from you or was it programmed? Yeah.
And it's funny when with that comment where they just want fair-skinned kids, a lot of children that stem from interracial relationships, a lot of those children they have issues. They don't know if they're white, they don't know if they're Black, they don't know how to fit in, they don't know where to fit in.
They do.
You know, how do you address? How would you address that, Dr. Alicia, with a biracial child who just, they got one foot in and one foot out?
It's very complex, because think about how hard it is to develop your identity. If you come from multi-race, you have to develop your identity as a white person and your identity as a African-American person. Like, it's a complex process. It's not that it can't happen. It's just yet another barrier. It's just yet another barrier that you have to overcome. How do you address? What do you do? Who are your friends? Because you're not accepted. Sometimes you're not accepted in African-American community because you're half white. You're not accepted with white folks because you're half Black. It is a really, really interesting dynamic and dilemma that happens. How do you develop your own identity? Where are you in that whole process where it makes sense and you can kind of like relax? Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen. It's just, it's going to take a little more effort. And hopefully parents of multi-race children are aware of this and can help guide them through this.
A lot of those parents aren't, because I've had friends who are biracial and they do struggle with their identity. And the parents, they're not really, people don't get together thinking through what their children are going to have to deal with from them coming together, basically.
Wow. Well, if you all are just tuning in, welcome to Fly Nubian Money. I'm sitting here with these three lovely queens. We have Athena, we have Constance, we have Dr. Alicia. Now, if you want to be made aware as to when we are going live, make sure you text QUEENS, QUEENS, to 87948. And please don't forget that Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. by searching Fly Nubian Money on Spotify to catch all of our empowering discussions. Now, if you're looking to get your money together and you're looking to get those coins and create some legacy wealth, make sure you go on over to flynubianmoney.com and get some of those free financial resources. There's some courses and a whole lot more. And also, sometimes we like to have extra folks come sit on the panel with us. So if you want to be a guest queen, send us an email at info@realvirtual.net. That's REEL virtual.net. info@realvirtual.net. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to move on over into my next question, and I want to talk finances. I want to talk money, because when we date outside of our race, Athena, since you are our CPA, I want to talk a little bit about what that does to wealth and money. Do you feel like when people date outside of their race or marry outside of that race that it affects us as a people, as Black Americans? Does that affect us financially? Do you feel like that money is leaving the community when we date or marry outside of our race?
I do think that is something that does happen oftentimes when we date or marry outside of our race. Usually within relationship structure, whoever is in the dominant society, just off of the structure of that relationship, tends to be the other person, the non-dominant partner, tends to adapt to their culture and adapt to their process. So, and because especially the rate of Black men who date outside or interracially, and those Black men tend to be the ones who are of status or economic means, whatever legacy that they leave passed down to their children or passed down to their spouse tends to go towards that dominant society. Because face it, most men end up leaving Earth or passing away before their wives. So their wife, especially if she's a non-Black wife, will tend to inherit everything. And their biracial or mixed children will tend to go through that. And even with the children, if you notice with what I've observed within children who are biracial, they tend to lean more to the or adopt the culture of the parent who is more predominant in society. So it is an issue. It does not help our generational wealth gap that Constance was talking about yesterday, and I'm sure she can expound on that more. And but also we are emotional. People are more emotional than logical. So we're not thinking the logical aspects of being in a relationship with someone. You're thinking about this is what I want, this is how I want to feel, and this person can give it to me, and that's where I'm going to go. Unfortunately, this is a casualty of that.
Constance, I want to hear from you about that wealth piece. Do you feel like that interracial dating does affect us as a community as it relates to wealth within the Black community?
100%. That's the number one reason why there's such a huge disparity with wealth within our community. When you brought that up, I was looking at this post that I did on, I don't know if you guys seen this, income by ethnicity, and I posted it on Instagram a while ago, and it just went crazy. But if you see at the top, everything good, we're at the bottom, everything bad, we're at the top. I mean, it is what it is in America, right? But it doesn't mean we're the worst. We just got shafted the worst. But Indian American families, they have the highest income. Guess why? Because they stay together, because they practice collective economics. Jewish Americans, white Americans, even Hispanic Americans. What on this here, income by ethnicity, 152,000 for Indian American families, and African American families are all the way down to 51,000. And it's absolutely because we do not have two-parent households. It's absolutely because we're married at much lower levels. So yeah. When you're seeing the brothers not going for the sisters, and us not having a solid familial background or home, yeah, you're going to see a lot of the wealth go.
I was thinking a little while ago that Columbus Short, several years back rather, when he had a domestic violence incident, he was terminated. Yes, dry mouth is funny. Columbus Short, he wasn't just terminated, he was exited from the hit show Scandal. And he has had a series of legal issues. He has been documented as having a substance abuse problem. And I just want to pose it to the ladies. Do you think that not just Columbus, but some men, they date the way that they date or marry who they marry so that they can maintain a lifestyle once they've hit a hiccup, similar to what Columbus Short has experienced? Dr. Alicia, I want to start with you first. Do you think that could be an issue with him needing to maintain his lifestyle? His current wife is Armenian, and that is a financially secure group of folks. Do you think that could be an issue?
So he was very strategic in marrying a woman who's Armenian, because that to him is going to be his way to get a leg up. Is that what you're thinking? Okay, that is quite possible. And, you would hope and think that there's genuine and real love between the two of them, because if there isn't, that marriage won't work, because you're going to have ups and downs. And if you marry on the basis of something other than love is essential, right? It's not the only thing that matters, but it's essential piece there. And if you don't have that genuine love to fall back on, they're not going to make it as a couple. I mean, this is for everybody. You really have to have deep-seated love for somebody, because when times get tough, as they will in relationships, that love will help keep that commitment there. So I'm really interested. We have got to have another talk about this later on, just as an illustration. Listen, we're not here talking about Columbus Short. We're here using this as an illustration of real life issues that people are going through. Who do you marry? Who do you decide to marry? Is it going to be a come up, or is it not? Is it really based on real love? What are your motives for making decisions in your life and things you want to do, and your career gains? I mean, he is off the trail. I mean, to get kicked off of a show and have your name ruined in an area in Hollywood, like for a Black man, you can't get back on. Look at Jonathan Majors. He cannot get back, and so, you have a trail of scandals. Like literally, he was really carrying out the title of the show, Scandal. He has a list of scandals, real life scandals behind him. It's difficult. Like, how are you going to survive? So maybe perhaps for him, marrying an Armenian woman is a survival mechanism. Sometimes marrying outside your race because you're frustrated with what's going on, in relationships, you just do what you can to survive. You want love. You want to be accepted. You want someone to really see you for who and what you are, the intimacy. Like, people are so lonely, and a lot of men are deprived from intimacy. They don't talk about it, but they're deprived. So they got to get it somewhere. So I don't know. I just wanted to tease all of this stuff out, because it's not straightforward. It's very complex. Time will tell what happens with him. We're going to use him as an illustration again.
Constance, what? I see you want to jump in there.
Like, nothing. Fuck Columbus Short. And nothing pisses me off more than to see a sellout black man be with another race and then talk bad about black women. Look at that football player who did that, and then he got slapped upside the face by his woman and was like, she abused me. Look at the one who even got killed by his white woman. And you guys want to talk down on black women and then go. That nothing pisses me off more. But it all goes back. And whether the Willie Lynch letters were real or not, it was ingrained in us. They say the Willie Lynch letters weren't real, but it was ingrained. Pit the men against the women, the young against the old, the house against the field. Like, we have been pitted against each other from the inception of this country. And that's the reason why. Because when I'm sitting here listening to you guys, I always try to be solution oriented. I really do. And I'm trying to think, okay, what can save us black people? I don't know. Therapy. We need therapy because, money ain't gonna save us. I don't know. We just need therapy because we have been, we have suffered from post-traumatic slave syndrome. And it's we've been beat down with this for years and decades and centuries. And it is what it is. We've been hit the most, more than anybody else.
I want to jump to a comment here from NCOG. This is a deep comment. I want your feedback, ladies. It says, Columbus Short is a dancer, and a lot of dancers are bisexual at minimum. He has to be with a non-black woman because of his sexuality. Diddy called him during the wee hours of the morning for a reason. Is that a thing? Have you ever heard of this? This is my first time hearing of it, that most bisexual men have to be with a non-black woman because of their sexuality. Dr. Alicia, I see eyes dancing. What do you have to say about that comment?
Oh, I didn't know he was a professional dancer. That kind of gives it away. But here's the thing. Oh my gosh. Alternative lifestyles. So we know that black women are on the receiving end of men who have these alternative lifestyles. We can't compare our lives to the lives of people in Hollywood because who the heck really knows? I mean, I think the Will and Jada situation gave us a little bit of a glimpse of thought process that we just as regular people, we just couldn't relate to. So who knows what happens behind closed doors? It's all coming out. Look at the Diddy scandal, and there's going to be a whole litany of other scandals where we're going to have a peek inside of how these relationships and arrangements operate in Hollywood. That's aside from us regular folk, okay, who wants, regular things. So yeah, the more homophobic we are as a country, the more you're going to get people on the down low. So that's the fact, right? So you internalize some of those stigma that you feel against people with alternative lifestyles, and you internalize that. And so, yeah, that encourages bisexuality and all of those things. So I really think that it's just an outplay of society. But dating outside your race, I've heard that before, where people date outside their race because sometimes other races approach marriage in a different way than as a black women, because we do keep it real. We want authentic relationships in general. And so there could be other races that'll be a little more amenable to all of those alternative lifestyles. I honestly think that that's just a Hollywood thing, and we don't know what happens in those relationships.
I think
something real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I inadvertently picked up this passport, and I'm sorry. I just was like, I got to my point, but I think this was a Freudian slip. I think God was telling me I need to get the fuck up out the United States. Find me a man outside of here, because
where you going?
You're just gonna bump into the passport bros at the airport. I was in Colombia earlier, and they were all up in there.
Athena, do you want to add to that? Is that something that you'd heard before?
Well, ladies, I've always said I've had friends across all ethnicities, and I'm glad that I've done that because I definitely see behind the curtain. Okay, I see behind the curtain. Will I say non-Black women embrace more alternative lifestyles? I would say yes. Will I say I have seen non-Black women approach dating in a more even sexually promiscuous manner than black comparison to black women, I would actually say yes. So I also think there's a veil between what's going on into interracial relationships. I do think that to some degree the women tend to be more accepting of alternative men and alternative lifestyles, and but it's not openly discussed and it's kept behind a closed door. So you looking at Becky like, how the hell did she pull him? Like, what? Why? Because she was just white? No, Becky after the first date was Becky in, and that's how she was able to facilitate such an easy transition. So that happens actually, I think, a lot more. Also, as far as the biracial and download comments from my gay correspondents, they basically said 1 in 3 men are either gay or bisexual. And I have been told that all kind of things behind the scenes. We can do a whole nother show on that. Let me just keep it capped with what I just said right.
Okay. Woo, we're going to come back to that one. I have another comment here from QM. It says some black men spend their young years dating non-black women, but eventually marry a black woman, but that creates some of the void black women have not being able to have dating experience if they choose to solely date black men. Do you think, ladies, that black women should definitely in the dating pool start dating outside of their race? Constance, I want to start with you.
You know, I used to always say when I was married, you know, if I ever got single, I'm dating everybody. And I think we should. I just can't.
I know. Oh my God, the struggle is real.
I can't do the pink.
Dr. Alicia, do you think Constance and I need counseling? Because it's the struggle.
I don't think so. Like, people don't know this about me. I was born in Tuskegee, Alabama. I was raised in Gary, Indiana. I don't know white people like that. Like, I just don't find them attractive. Like, I don't find white men. There are some really handsome white men. I just not attracted to them because that's just not what I was raised with. And so I just can't relate to them like that on a romantic level. I just don't know. It's just I'm a product of my environment.
Yeah, what we supposed to do, Dr. Alicia? What we supposed to do?
I don't know what to do. That don't seem right. It don't work in my head. In the conversations I have when no one else is around about white people, how am I going to have those conversations to them?
Listen, wait. You're right about that because as we talk about different things, say we're on Thanksgiving and somebody brings somebody else, and then we talking like we talking, we're like, oh shoot, somebody.
Right.
We don't be a whole event. We're supposed to be in our comfort zone, take off our veil, and we can't do it because you here.
We got company.
I want to jump into another comment here from a healed perspective, and she made a valid point that some men are getting killed going to other countries looking for love. This is the passport brothers going to other countries to go, turn up, get lit, live your life. It's dangerous because as you speak with, and sometimes I think some black men not all, but some black men don't realize that when you make disparaging remarks about black women, men of other cultures look at you and think negative of you for speaking about the women of your own race. So, Constance, give me your feedback on that.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
The comment from a healed perspective where men are getting killed going to other countries because it's been an onslaught. Last year alone in between November and January of this year, there were several men that were found in Colombia and Brazil that had been murdered that were Black American men that had gone over looking for love and they were set up and killed.
Stay your ass at home.
Listen, passport bros, they thinking they're going to Mexico and El Chapo and his people like, no, you ain't coming to take our woman like that. They're going to El Chapo you over there, okay? Listen.
Oh my God. I think we really should do. Y'all know when you go to Africa, they have this welcome home ceremony and they put and they sing a song as you get off the airplane. We should do that for the passport brothers. I really do think that we should embrace them with loving arms open, and we should sing like a welcome home song. Welcome home.
I don't know about that.
Welcome back. I do. I think we should approach them.
Listen, I was in Colombia
You know
Start
what?
your hand up in January.
We're
The
gonna
need,
we
the
need to
need
do a
for
segment.
love.
We
is
need to do a
so-
healing segment with Dr.
Yeah.
We need a healing segment.
No, we too nice. That's the problem. We need to put our foot down and be like, stop this nonsense. Because I was in Colombia. I was like, where are these fine Colombian women who just so docile, so fine? And I didn't find, I did not see, I saw maybe two. And they didn't look like anything you couldn't find in Miami. So why you gotta go all the way with your spirit money to go all the way and you can't, find, even if you're gonna date out, you can't find a Hispanic woman here? That's how you know it's about money. Because the exchange rate doing something and have you feeling like you're doing something, but you ain't really be able to do at home. But that's a conversation for another show.
It's a conversation for another show. Well, we're going to start to wrap this up. But before we do, I just want to say, everybody watching, Dr. Alicia is the epitome and a picture of a healed woman. So if there was a definition in the dictionary of healed, zoom into that face. That's a healed woman. And
Therapy.
I thought I was healed, but clearly I got some work to do. If you all are just tuning in, this is Fly Nubian Money. I'm here with the queens. My name is Erica. We have Athena, we have Constance, and we have the lovely Dr. Alicia. If you want to know ahead of time when we're airing, please make sure you text Queens at 87948. That's Queens with an S at the end, QUEENS. Text that to 87948. And please don't forget, we are on Spotify. Make sure you tune in Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. and you can search us in that search bar, Fly Nubian Money, to catch all of our empowering discussions. Now listen, you want to get that money right, you want to create some legacy wealth, go on over to flynubianmoney.com, and there's plenty of financial resources and courses over there that you can take to get yourself on track to wealth. And if you are watching and interested in being a part of our panel, send us an email. We want to hear from you. You can email us at info@realvirtual.net. That's REEL virtual.net. Now, we're going to start wrapping this segment up. I have enjoyed you ladies so much. And I just want to get some last comments from all of you. And please let us know where our viewers can reach out to you. And we're going to start with you, Athena. Where can people find you and what are your last thoughts?
Okay, so my last thoughts is this. Ladies, we are queens, okay? We are queens and we do not have to play into, beg or command a man to do anything. If you want to go with a Wahite or a Marisol or a Beckiana, that is a man's job to do. But don't disrespect Black women in the process, I think is what we are all asking, okay? So rebuke the spirit of any dry mouth, dusty man talking nonsense. If you are a woman who is interested in elevating your wealth and learn how to confidently manage your finances and to create the wealth you deserve, you can find me at wewealthwoman.com. I'm Athena Gardner. I'm a CPA, and it's been a pleasure to be here today.
All right, Constance, you are up next. What are your last thoughts and how can people get in contact with you?
Many people be hating on Dr. Umar, but I believe I mess with Dr. Umar. One of the things he said, I think just last week, he said, y'all need to stop bunny hopping. He said, no snow bunnies, no sand bunnies, no salsa bunnies, no rice bunnies. Y'all need to, no, really, we need to look to each other first, just like every other culture does. We got to get real conscious about and intentional about preserving our own like everybody else. Everybody else does it unapologetically. We need to look to ourselves first. And that's the way that we're going to grow as a community. That's the way that we're going to grow our wealth. All of those things, we got to look to each other first. I'm right with you, Dr. Umar. How can you follow me? I'm on everywhere at I Am Constance Carter on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And one of the things that I do is I help Black women from all over the country grow their wealth to over 7 figures. So I have something that's called the Net 7 Collective, where I coach and train Black women. And as a result, they have already started making millions of dollars. And so if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to me at bookwithconstance.com.
All right. Thank you, Constance. And last but not least, the healthy, whole, and healed Dr. Alicia. What are your last words and how can people contact you?
Yeah, so clearly from today's conversation, Black people are suffering, and they're suffering in their relationships. And I think it's time that we need to heal. Now's the time that we can heal. Today, you can heal. If you are interested in healing, you can contact me at coachingwithdralicia.com. I can work with individuals. I work with you as a couple, heal together in your relationships. You can find me on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Alicia. And my name is Erica Lewis. I am the author of Faith in Transition, and you can find me over at faithintransition.com. My closing remarks, I'm with Dr. Alicia, and I'm with all the ladies. We do need to heal. We've got to find a common place where, as Black men and Black women, where we can sit and we can at least have a conversation and develop a level of understanding so that we can build our community. Because guess what? As we build our community, we'll be able to protect our community because we're being infiltrated from left and right. I want to thank all of you for watching. You have been a joy. Ladies, thank you so much. This is my first time hosting, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me. It has been a pleasure, and we're a little bit over, so I'm just going to say peace, one love, and it's been great. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much.